Okay, gang, so recently we used LEDs, we've used a servo before that, we did a potentiometer last time, and we also used a map statement. We looked at the map statement just this last video. So what I wanted to do today was we're going to hit the map statement and servos and pots one more time just for fun, and we'll get a little more practice with it. So let's think about what we're going to do first, okay? We'll do a little bit of planning, right? We're going to use a potentiometer. It will return a value between 0 and 1023. That's the range of values it will return. And the servo motor, what we want to do is we want to turn our potentiometer and have our servo motor turn in the same direction as we move our potentiometer knob. Okay, now potentiometer, the servo, can rotate 180 degrees. That's what this one's set up to do. Approximately 180 degrees. It's probably a little less than that, or maybe a little more, but about 180 degrees. So what we're going to have to do at some point in this program, we're going to have a map statement that's going to have some variable, and it's going to be mapping 0 to 1023, so that'll be here, over to 0 to 180. Well, 180, and I need to double check that. It might be like 1 to 179, but we might have to play around with that. But that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be mapping this to this, and we'll write a little code, and we'll wire it up, and we'll run a little program, see if we can get this thing working. Okay, so what do we need to make this project happen? We need a potentiometer. This is a 10K. You can see on the front there if it'll focus. We have a 10K potentiometer. We have a very small 9-gram micro servo, Tower Pro SG90. Super cheap on eBay. I'll put links to these down below. And then we have an Arduino Uno knockoff. These are super cheap too. You can get these even from a US provider. You can get them for $6 or $7, the knockoffs. And then you need a little jumper wire. Like in this case, we have the servo has a female end here, so I'm using male to male jumpers to get it from here to the Arduino Uno board. I also have a little small mini breadboard. These are very handy to keep around. And then I have 3 male to male jumpers here. Okay, so let's review our connections on the servo. On this one, the color scheme's kind of weird. The brown is ground, the red is 5 volts, and the orange is going to be the signal pin. And I've tried to reproduce that with these jumper wires. I didn't have a brown, so I used a black for the ground, which actually makes more sense. All right, and then on the potentiometer, I'm using red for 5 volts, black for ground. I'm using yellow for signal. So we just have to choose. We have to make some choices here, and let's go ahead and make our connections right here. We have to make some choices on where we're going to put what. So first, we know we're going to have to hook up ground, right? So we need to find our grounds. We have 2 grounds right here side by side on the Arduino. So let's use those. We'll hook those up now. So I have a ground, and I have a ground. There we go. And the Arduino is not plugged in right now, by the way. Now we need 5 volts for each one of these devices. So, all right, I got a 5 volt there, and I've got a second 5 volt there. So that was nice of them to include 2 5 volts spots on the board. I think that's all there is 2. Yeah, there's 2 5 volts, and then there's actually 2 grounds on this side, and there's a ground over here on this side too. So you can do a lot without having to use a breadboard if you want to. So all we're left with now to hook up are 2 signals. So what do we know? So we know that the potentiometer is going to use analog read. So we're going to be on one of these analog pins over here, A0 through A5. We'll just pick one. Okay, we'll do A4 just for fun. So we'll have to remember that when we write our code. Potentiometer is going to read on A4. And this servo, it doesn't matter. We can make any old pin we want control the servo motor. So let's go with, let's pick one. We'll pick one, right? Let's say pin number 8. There we go. So we are all hooked up. Y'all got those connections? 3 wires for each, power, ground, and signal. Both of them have the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and cut away from this. I'll move this out of my way a little bit. There we go. We'll come back to you in a minute. And we'll go to our code. So I have a brand new fresh code window up here. So we need to do something ahead of the setup routine this time. We need to include include servo.h. And that's because the servo commands aren't part of your standard Arduino code there, the code base. You have to include the servo library to be able to use the servo commands. Up here we will also declare our servo to be named blue servo, because our servo is blue. So from here on out, when we want to reference our servo, we will call it by the name blue servo. In the setup, we're going to do one thing. We're going to blueservo.attach. This is where we tell our sketch what pin we're going to attach our servo to. And what did we say we were doing? We said we were doing A4. So remember, capitalization counts with this. Blueservo.attach A4. That works. All right, now this code, I'm going to do something crazy here in the loop. I've looked at some other example code of this. You know, this is a fairly common kind of thing. And they take like 5-6 lines to do this. Well, you can do it all. We can do everything we want to do on this program with 1 line of code. So let's do it. It's going to be like a big old compound nested statement here. So we're going to call blue servo dot write, because we're going to write to that servo. Then the number we're going to write is going to be a map of, and then remember, in the map statement you have to put the variable that you're mapping first, and we're mapping the analog read of, oh, you know what, I did this wrong. No, the servo, yeah, I did this wrong. I'm making a mistake. Blue servo is actually, let me go back up here in the code. Our potentiometer is on A4. Aha, y'all probably caught that. Y'all probably yelling at your screen just now. Blue servo is attached to 8. Okay, so where was I? Blue servo.write map analog read A. This is where we need our A4, and that's how I caught it. Analog read A4. So that's our variable that we're reading from. Analog read A4. And then we have to put the range of possibilities of that read. It can be anywhere from 0 to 1023, as we know. And then the range that we want to write to the servo, which is going to be 0 as the lowest, 180 as the highest. And then we close up our parentheses. I need to count the, look, if you see this, Arduino kind of helps you, the IDE kind of helps you. So whenever I close parentheses here, it made a little mark right here letting me know I was closing this set of parentheses. So I still need to close this other set of parentheses that I started with map right here. So we need to do one more set of parentheses. Whoops. One more set of parentheses. And that's our code. So let's take a look at what we're doing again. We're including the servo library. We're naming our servo blue servo. We're attaching blue servo to digital pin 8. Now we're writing to blue servo the mapping of the read of analog pin 4, and then the map is from 0 to 1023 on the way in, and on the way out it's going to be mapped to 0, 180. And that's it. So here we go. Let's first let's do a verify on this. We'll do a save. And I'll be damned, I have no errors. At least it doesn't have any syntax errors. But now we get to find out if it works. Let's upload it and let's see. Let me reposition you guys here. Alrighty. There we go. And we'll hit upload. Probably see a little buzzing on the servo. Yeah, okay, it went to some position. Whatever position the potentiometer's at. Alright, cross your fingers, guys. Let's see if this works. I'll be damned, it works. Okay, that's awesome. See that? It's got a lot of jitter. It's got so much jitter, it's kind of vibrating. Cheap servo. So that's it, guys. Servos, potentiometers, mapping. What else did we do? We did a compound statement today. I think we're gonna call it a day. Thanks for watching. I will see y'all next time. Bye bye.